You know exactly what to say in a single text message. You just want to ask a friend to grab coffee. But as you stare at the screen, your thumb stays locked in place. You write a message, delete it, and write it again, worried the tone is wrong or the request is too much. The human brain can split atoms and trace the origins of time. Yet that same hardware can be brought to a halt by a 3-word social decision. This friction comes from a useful biological tool, self-awareness. Being able to look inward is a vital survival mechanism, but it has a limit. There is a point where awareness of your feelings shifts into constant self-monitoring. Knowing you want coffee is the easy part. The difficulty begins when you start watching yourself try to get it. You judge the action while it's happening, second-guessing the conversation before it starts. When awareness moves from a guide to a continuous diagnostic test, the priority shifts. The mind becomes so occupied with internal scrutiny that it struggles to commit to external action. Imagine the mind as a control room. Every second, information flows in from the world and is translated into decisions. This setup illustrates objective self-awareness theory. The brain holds a picture of your current state next to an idealized standard and measures the distance between them. If you feel nervous, the system detects a gap between how you feel and the calm person you want to become. In healthy reflection, the process is efficient. The brain spots a discrepancy, identifies a correction, and moves the thought into an action shoot. You feel nervous? Take a breath and hit send. Rumination tangles this belt into a recursive loop. Instead of passing through to action, the thought spins through 8 separate stages of evaluation, comparison, and simulation. This continuous processing generates massive cognitive heat and eventually overheats the system. Monitoring micrometrics, like your tone of voice or the chance of making a mistake, consumes bandwidth. The effort spent checking these internal dials leaves little room to actually do the thing you're checking. This loop feels like productive problem solving, but it functions as a delay. The mind treats analysis as a way to avoid the risks of the real world. All of this effort assumes our internal data is reliable. We tend to believe that looking inward gives us direct access to our true motives. Psychological research points toward the introspection illusion. When we search our mental archives for why we do what we do, we often find blank pages. Feeling like you understand your motives is a separate phenomenon from actually possessing accurate self-knowledge. Lacking a direct view of our subconscious, the brain builds a rigid blueprint of our identity based on assumptions. This internal map often rejects new data that doesn't fit its pre-drawn shape. If reality contradicts this blueprint, the mind often bends its perception to protect the model. You might label yourself socially awkward while ignoring every successful interaction that says otherwise. Searching for perfect internal data is a dead end. The mind is attempting to navigate reality using a biased and incomplete map. This leads to the performance paradox. Monitoring your own behavior while trying to perform it makes the performance worse. A pianist who focuses on the movement of their fingers instead of the music is much more likely to hit a wrong note. Breaking this cycle involves shifting how self-awareness is used, moving it from a closed diagnostic loop into an open system. Accurate self-knowledge requires external feedback. We cannot figure out our place in the world solely through internal debate. We need real-world results to serve as a benchmark. Stepping outside the internal control room and interacting with others reveals the blind spots that pure introspection just misses. Other people offer a perspective on our behavior that we are naturally unaware of. A healthy mind follows a different track. Notice a feeling, take an action, observe the outcome, learn from it, and update the model. The process stays in motion. The goal is to know yourself well enough to take a single step. You learn the most not from the plan, but from the resulting impact. Self-awareness works best as a window to view the world. Stare through it too long, and it becomes a mirror. Sometimes the only way to understand yourself is to stop watching the reflection and start living.